for me.
Okay, so the first question is, as we move into higher states of mind, do you think a man deeply in resonance with his woman can sustain monogamy? That's a pretty good question.
I think it's a conversation that should be had because I don't I don't really think that we're monogamous by nature.
Mhm.
I think that because we're not in villages anymore, we're not getting, because love is not one thing. Love is so many things.
Mhm.
I believe that now that we're not living in these tight-knit communities, villages, and tribes, we're trying to get all of our needs met from one person.
Mhm.
And that could be the companionship. That's a form of love. It could be just somebody to talk to who understands you. That's a different expression of love. It could be it's somebody who you know that you can count on in difficult times. It's a different expression of love. And I think what happened to us was we got away from that. We tried to do the biblical thing, which is, and I know a lot of people like, what? Like, yeah. But we try to do the biblical thing. We try to get everything from one person. And look how that turned out. A lot of the men all through the Bible and many other texts that monotheistic religion use, they have multiple women. So, I think the thing that I wanted to tap into with that question is, can women sustain monogamy? And I think women have been better equipped to sustain monogamy than men because of our biology.
Mhm.
We're built in a way where if mama a rolling stone, you go find out. It's gonna be some of them kids ain't gonna look like their daddy. He just ain't. You know,
Right.
with the man, you won't know unless you catch him.
Hmm.
So I feel like our biology to be smart, we're just like, okay, I'm just not gonna put myself in that position. But to be
Hmm.
honest, I don't think a lot of men really are monogamous by nature.
Right.
Um, I think they enjoy being with one woman because, of course, you can have more quantity, possibly more quality if you focus on one woman. But honestly, I don't think that that's really what men really want. This is just me. And it's hard to get a man to tell you the truth about how he feel, but I don't think so because why do we cheat? Like it's
Right.
something we're looking for. It's something we're
Right.
looking that we don't have at home. And so I don't know. I'm in the belief, I believe that I don't believe in polygamy. I don't believe in monogamy. I don't believe in polyamory. I believe in finding what works for you,
For right.
limit, some guidelines, um, a contract, marriage is a contract. Why not have a contract? And that's just my belief. So I do think it's possible, but I don't think it's natural.
Yeah, I
Is
agree. I agree. And, for certain men, I mean, monogamy is not something that they look forward to, especially early on in their life, when they're teenagers, when they're in their early 20s, when they're in their 30s. Like, I don't think a lot of men are really thinking about being monogamous. They're still in play mode. Um, but does that tend to shift? I do think so. And I
Mhm.
think it's more so because of social construct than anything else.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, I'm 40 now. Let me settle down, let me buckle down and get into a relationship, get married so I can have kids, get my seeds going. But I agree with you. I really don't think that it's natural for them. I mean,
Yeah.
for us, it's more natural, like you said, because of biology, but um mentally, I think that a lot of women do consider it mentally, but they wouldn't dare to kind of step out and entertain it, like you said, because we're the ones that can get pregnant. And
Mhm.
then our womb space is kind of affected by so many individuals coming into our womb space. So I think that's another reason why a lot of women kind of stay away from it as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's that's okay. Yes. So let's talk about it. Sexually transmitted trauma. It's a thing. And
Hmm.
I'm surprised. I was surprised when I was the first person to start talking about this because I do believe most women are emotionally mature enough to be in more than one romantic relationship. I just, until somebody got something that proves me different, I believe that we're capable of doing that because our mind, a feminine mind, is nurturing. It cultivates, it innovates, it can change on a dime. Our mind can think about many different things at a time. That's why we multitask. Like, who's usually the best multitasker? It's
Mm-hmm.
usually, you don't see a lot of gods with a lot of arms. But when you see depiction of goddesses, you usually see them with more than two arms. And that represents our flexibility. So I do believe this. And I believe, honestly, society, outside of most men's ego and the jealousy component, if we were practicing Tantra, which is the practice of settling the ego, the practice of humility, the practice of bowing down, the practice of surrendering to what someone else needs, if it's what they need because you love them. Like, we haven't been taught these principles. We have used relationships as a form of ownership, a form of objectification. So a lot of women aren't getting their needs met because a lot of men, they aren't really emotionally mature enough to do so. So to add another woman in the equation for a man, unless he has really worked on himself, I just foresee that to be huge problems because they have a difficult time handling one woman, more or less more. So, that's another impact of that. And I believe it goes back to the body and the physiology. Because women, we receive energy. We're receptors. Men are the projectors. So they project out energy. With that being said, if a woman is sleeping with more than one man, that's a lot of energy to process. I saw a post last night on Instagram, like 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't know why I was doom scrolling at 2 in the morning because it's not something I usually do, but I just so happened to have been on there. And Delicious, she's been on shows on VH1 reality TV shows, but Delicious made a post and she was like, okay, if you had $2 for every time that you had sex in 2024, what would you be able to buy? And it threw me out for a minute. And I was counting, and I was like, damn, I wouldn't even be able to buy a pack of annihilators. It's been a pretty dry year. So I was like, let me see what's going on with everybody else. Maybe I'm just in a space in my life and that's just how it is. No, no, almost every single comment on there. I didn't see anybody who had a 2, 4, 6, or 8. So look like we ain't gonna be able to buy anything. And it was hundreds and hundreds. I just kept scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. I was like, what is happening with the collective of women? So, it was interesting to see that because I was thinking, it was just a personal thing, even though I know it's not, because I checked into the collective. I've read into the Akash. This is something that is happening with a lot of us, and there is a reason for that. And I can't help but to get into this because it just feels like the natural place to go. But I believe for this very example of what we've been talking about, if you are somebody who in your soul contract, you said, I am going to be a generational curse breaker. I am going to heal generational trauma by any means necessary. Even if I do not want to, I'm going to do the work. We don't remember that we said these things before we incarnate here because if we did, we wouldn't do the work. If we knew that our relationships was going to be how that trauma was going to be mirrored to us, and then we were going to have to work through it with another individual who's working through all of the energy that he has taken on from the womb to his childhood, to his love attachment, and most of us have an insecure love attachment, we wouldn't have did this. We probably would all be nuns and eunuchs because that shit would have scared the hell out of us. Let's just be real. So that period of age of Pisces, where we was getting into relationships blindly, we needed that. we kind of needed to be bamboozled